And finally this evening, December has passed, which means it's the perfect time of year for looking back over what's passed in the last 12 months. Millions of people have woken up today and taken a look back at their Spotify Wrapped feature, where you get to take a look back at all the music that you've listened to over the years. But ahead of a brand new episode of the Kent Film Club airing this evening, we thought we'd take a look back at some of the movies that have been released this year, along with the show's presenter, Chris Deacy, who is here now. Chris, thank you very much for being here. We've got a film on the screen here, which you told me earlier is the film that you've potentially seen the most this year. Tell me about it.
Well, not on the same scale as Mission Impossible last year, which I think I saw 13 times at the cinema. So I think that would blow Spotify Wrap off the radar. Juror 2 I've seen 4 times, but extraordinary. Do you remember all those John Grisham adaptations, particularly from the 90s? This has a similar kind of premise. Guy in court, he's on the jury, and suddenly he realises that he has a role to play in the case that's unfolding, and the guy is innocent who's being charged of a murder, and maybe he did it. Now that sounds like a fanciful conceit, but the film puts the sacrality of family first, and it sort of has this quite unbelievable premise, but starts unpacking it, and in a way that Clint Eastwood does so beautifully. I mean, he's 94. He's been making films for 60 years, and I was just blown away by this film. And it feels as though he has so much more to say, and it probably is his swan song. Yeah,
of course. Anything attached to Clint Eastwood always goes down well in my books, definitely. And then we've got Venom on here. This one didn't go down well with you, did it?
It didn't for me. I saw the first one. The second one was okay. It kind of felt to me here as though there's this premise, which you see, of course, throughout the Marvel universe. I've been in cinemas when Venom has come on, and people have been literally jumping out of their seat and thinking, hey, you know, a reference to the multiverse, all that intertextuality. This one, to me, felt it was going through the motions. I didn't think that it had the same sort of texture. I was a bit disappointed. I normally review a film after I've watched it. I kind of felt with this one I wanted to just kind of let it go.
Yeah, just before we move on to our final film, just wondering what you think about superhero films now. We've had so many of them, especially with the Marvel universe over the past 10 years. Do you think we're getting to the point where it's becoming that kind of oversaturated? Audiences getting used to it now?
I'm old enough to remember when the first Batman came out, Tim Burton's in '89, and that was so different from anything that we'd seen before. I kind of feel now that that's the template that we're used to expecting. DC films, nothing to do with me, the DC films have, I think, got a lot better and darker in the Batman franchise. The Marvel films, I kind of feel that there's a bit of coasting going on. I remember Sean Penn saying a year or two ago that he feels that there's a point now when Hollywood needs to move on from the superhero genre. I mean, I might not be the right demographic for that. I've been in audiences where Spider-Man has come on and they've thought, hey, another iteration of Spider-Man, you know, and they've all jumped out of their seats. But I think that a film like Juror Number 2, which my 12-year-old daughter watched and was completely blown away with, I think it kind of shows that there's a lot more that cinema can offer.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's talk about Wicked then.
Certainly.
Obviously, in terms of films this year, one of the highest grossing ones. It's only been out for a couple of weeks or so. But in terms of adaptations, and we were talking about Marvel just then and all of the films that can come from that, there's lots of Broadway shows, lots of West End shows that could be potentially turned into films in the future.
There are, and you think of Back to the Future. I mean, actually, I was just thinking here as well, because I saw Trading Places on the big screen yesterday. There's something similar here, you know, the trading of places, you know, who's good, who's evil. I haven't seen the stage play. Obviously, I know the original Wizard of Oz from 1939. What works here, a bit like the film Trading Places, is in a way the sort of question of who you think is a good person, put them in a different context, and they turn out rather differently. It's a really clever conceit. Of course, it's in 2 parts.
Yes.
After 2 hours, 40 minutes, you think we're just halfway through.
And
there's so much more to offer.
Plenty more film discussion like this on the Kent Film Club just coming up after the break. That is it from us. Goodbye.